Yeah, I'm not willing to be bold enough to make that kind of call, but I think what you're saying is fair to some extent. That this split, it does seem like they have a little bit less direction than they've had in previous splits, where they've had what is effectively a very established, solid coach that was with them for a very long time. And it also begs the question again: utility. I'm assuming he has a lot more authority because I cannot imagine Saigon Buffalo's four-man stack saying, "Oh, we don't like BJ." Like I've seen this team have so much fun and so much entertainment together. So unless BJ is just really toxic behind the scenes, I cannot imagine a world in which they're just like, oh yeah, Guri has to be playing for us right now. But maybe I'm wrong. Let's not speculate on it for too long. Instead, we'll get into our game, maybe our final game of the split.
Staying with that point for just a second.
Sure.
I can see that because like what you always have to remember is that it's a team sport and like clearly they think they're good enough to win the split, right? I think that's pretty obvious.
Yes.
So I think Guri was brought in as a substitute, and to a degree the team might have made a call, as hard as it is, with your friend and with the team being so close, that you need to change something, and maybe they thought Guri might be the way, right? So and then it becomes, and then it explains also a bit why BJ never came back, because if it was a team decision and not really driven by coaching staff, there's not really like BJ might be, and again we're speculating a bit here, there could be like breakdown right between the team and BJ because they thought they had to bench him, and there wasn't really coaching staff to basically stand up for it and be like, yeah, I'm taking the blame for this, and the players can work together again.
It's a weird split and a weird kind of finish off here for Saigon Buffalo. We're hoping that they could come into this and make some kind of effort towards pushing GAM and pushing them back. And honestly, game one felt like the best opportunity that they're going to have. And now in this game, I mean, we're relying so much more on kind of all the other things, putting it together. They're going back to the Shogun carry us strategy. I don't think it's not unreasonable. It's a solid strategy. It's worked for them in the past. So maybe that's just where they've landed as a team. But you can already see some of the things are kind of compounding over. Look at the advantage that KI has already generated over top of the Jacks to kick off this game. Guri is going to be down at least a little bit of space. He's down at camp right now, maybe looking for a bot side dive to happen against Sin and Style, but you're just not going to find that. He's spotted out on a ward. Froggy's getting absolutely devastated in these trades against Kadi. Again, things not going perfectly right now.
No, and I mean, they are getting outscaled pretty massively. Levi now into top lane, wants to dive Hazmat. Hazmat has to turn it.
Okay. Yeah, I actually survived aggro for a second there. Oh, Levi actually took 2 more shots on the tail end. Yeah, we'll play from Hosmed there because that could have been really, really bad.
Anyways, he has to use this TP, and that just means that with the freezing wave, it's not going to be an easy top lane matchup for him. Anyways, it's very easy now for Kiaya to just bully him out because there's also no flash. So Cannon usually isn't really in any danger if there isn't a flash on Hazmat. If Hazmat can E-flash, then Cannon has to be a bit careful. But now that there's no flash that he can use aggressively, Cannon basically is always safe with his own flash up. And in that case, he can basically play as freely as he wants, as long as he respects Guri a bit.
And paying attention to the wave, notice that Kiaya didn't actually teleport back because the wave wasn't quite stacked enough and Hazmat isn't shoving it. So it means that like Kiaya is going to catch that massive wave without having to TP with basically very little loss. It'll probably end up being, look at that. What is that? 3, there's 5 there. That's 8. That's probably 12 minions worth of just gold that's going to be picked up by Kiaya unless he decides not to auto the cannon. I like that they are trying to punish it with Froggy. Again, it was a massive wave that you want to try to deny from Kiaya, but Hazmat taking 2 tower shots might have ruined any opportunity. Nonetheless, Froggy's here. He's going to try to make it happen. TP is going to go their way. He's going to come through. He's going to stick him under the tower. He's going to force the flash. Now Kadi's here. And an absolutely bungled attempt at making Kiaya miss a bunch of wave. Kind of a mistimed and misappropriated kind of an allotment of resources right here from Saigon Buffalo leads to a bunch of burnt summoner spells for basically nothing.
Yeah, I mean, the top side of Saigon just looks like they kind of don't care. They're just, like they're playing and they try some stuff, but if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And it didn't really look like they were in it with their heart. And on the other hand, bot lane was going pretty well for Shogun. Again, both sides with the call, just farming up, trying to be that hyper carry threat. And I think in the last game, it clearly showed that Shogun was the more efficient hyper carry threat.
Yeah, like I said, Saigon's composition to me bodes itself best when it comes to Shogun being able to carry in the late. So as long as bot lane is going fine and not really kind of swayed over towards the style and Xin combination, that's all right. Thankfully, Guri doesn't lose the camp to Kadi as he comes in, but it now has to cover for Hosmet as Hosmet is just getting bullied off by Levi and Kiai here. That's going to be a whole turret plate brought down. Kadi's going to be here too, just for an additional gold. That's a charm. That's a Spirit Rush burned. Hosmet's not going to fall to any sort of the pressure here. Thought they would get a lot more aggressive trying to shove Hosmet off the wave, because it seems like both top lanes have now been subject to a massive wave stacks that have crashed into the opposing tower, but Kiai is doing a better job of kind of solo keeping Hosmet away by, look at it, half his health is already gone. And yes, he picked up a decent chunk of this wave. If that Q hits, that's almost certainly just a dead laning phase here for Hosmet before he backs again.
Yeah, I mean, Kiai got the counter pick and is really using it to just put it onto Hosmet and making sure, yes, Froggy is picking up a plating in mid lane, but who cares? It's a Galio. It's really not going to scale anywhere, so when the Galio can't really get any side lane plays going, and of course he now has his ultimate, so he has to start, no, we're not talking about for VCS whatsoever, but we're not tilting me.
Yeah, let's ignore that for now. It doesn't matter. The number doesn't matter.
Number does not go blue. And so, yeah, I mean, right now he's just not in a good position.
Yeah.
He has to find something with his ultimate, or he's going to fall off on the other side. Of course, once Vi hits level 6, Levi can really start putting pressure on and looking for that first, but that's still inside 7.5 minutes, has not fallen yet.
Okay, interesting. Zin had this weird wraparound, but there's 2 more members on the side of Saigon Buffalo that are kind of here. That's going to be a laser from Styles. We're getting a bit of a 4-on-4 here on the bottom side river. That's a chain. That is a really good play. Zone up over the wall. A grab from Saigon Buffalo. That was a perfect chain CC. It started off with a gravitum from Shogun, who just nails it onto Style. And from there, it's Taki, it's the Flay, it's everything kind of being compounded into one. Saigon Buffalo first on the board. Props to them. Guri picks up the kill, but you're going to take that all day. First blood going over, and Shogun being able to shove a wave and make sure Style gets shut down a little bit more. As another play coming through, but it's going to get pulled out. That's an ultimate from Levi, actually, to do everything else. Ultimate from Guri, going to deny anybody else additional pressure. Froggy in the midst taking quite a bit of damage. Now the ultimate get popped, it gets wasted, but it is a 1-for-1 so far. Taki gets stunned up by Zin. Guri standing in the way to make sure that Kadi is getting body blocked. Now Shogun comes over with red right, ready to fight. And see if there's any additional chase to be had. Zin is basically dead to rights right now. Shogun's going to run at Kadi, try to make that happen. Look at the crescendum stacks. Is he going to be able to do it? Oh, Moonlight Vigil with the flash. A little bit late on the flash, in my opinion, but that's okay. Going to shove Kadi completely out, forces the flash out of the Ahri, and it's a big winning play. 3-for-1 here for Saigon Buffalo.
Yeah, and again, it's Saigon Buffalo just playing around bot, getting those advantages, and it looks like every time GAM goes toward the bot side, it's an absolute disaster just because the bot lane from Saigon Buffalo is so much better in this game, and we can see the Lantern just saving Froggy for now. Froggy ults in the end, and it looks a bit troll, but it does give the shield to his teammates, that extra magic shield to just make sure that Taki survives in the end. And I think it basically saves Taki here as well, because Kati is looking for that kill. And in the end, Taki survives it, and Shogun can't get the kill, but Zin dies on the back end. So, still a good trade for Saigon, but no kills this time for Shogun. A lot of gold for Guri, and we'll have to see if Gary can this time use the gold better.
Ooh, okay. The smite onto the Rift Herald will get it for Levi, but that's going to be Shogun picking up a kill onto Kiaya. As I don't think Shogun's quite done yet. He's got Calibrum and Infernum here ready to go, but Kadi's going to help on the cutoff angle. Style jumps over the wall with the ultimate. He's going to find 1 kill. That's going to be Infernum finished up by Shogun. That's going to be 2 kills now, as the Dusk was able to get quite a bit more, get some auto attack finishes. Now that's going to be Kadi going down, and it's to the Galio, as Levi is just kind of without any teammates. A 3-for-2, 4-for-2, my apologies, for the side of Saigon Buffalo, as they are fighting back effectively in this game.
How good is Shogun, by the way? Like,
He's
this
so
guy
good,
is just, he just smurfed all over. I mean, he basically went like, yes, I didn't have the best split, but I don't really care. We're just going, and Taki missing the hook, but otherwise really strong gameplay from him as well. The Lanterns have been on point, as Guri is inting it into Levi, because Levi is just gapping in the jungle position. Taki, though, gets the kill and makes sure that Levi does die for his play. And look at Shogun here. He does get the auto tech to kill both. That's just so satisfying. Then gets a lot of damage out on Kati as well, so Kati dies in the end to Froggy as well. Levi finishes him off, but who cares? He got basically 3 kills to himself.
Shogun is a beast. There's a reason why. A part of the reason we love this squad is because when they came into the league, they had a bunch of rookies. Again, they were on the verge of being knocked out in promotion tournament, and they took a big risk by not playing any veteran players, and they brought all of the members up from their B team. Those members included Taki and what was Bean J and Froggy as all members of that team. Shogun got added the next split after Arietti kind of didn't have the greatest splits in the entire world, and Shogun has ever since been like star in this league, really, really big star. That a lot of people have noticed that Taki and Shogun are some of the best bot laners that we have here in the VCS, if not just straight up the best bot lane pair we have here in the VCS, which is why we hype them up so much, and why I think it's really easy to love Saigon Buffalo, because no matter what the circumstance, they've always got this insanely talented bot duo to kind of be able to bank on. This split, it hasn't been as big for them. That's Taki trying to make a hook happen with the Hex Flash, but it's not going to happen. As this game, again, showing off a little bit more. The Aphelios, in my opinion, is going to be able to do quite a bit, because that's one of Shogun's best carry champions. You're going to see it on display here with the 3 kills already.
Yep, he is an absolute monster on that champion, and it's all going to be also if Guri can really do something with the 3 kills he has, because he has a lot of gold, he has a lot of damage, and he has to find something in, because if we look at top lane, it's... don't look at top lane, honestly. We were just not looking there, especially not at the CS that we can see. Same thing in the mid lane, of course. Not as bad, but still not great either. And that just means that BJ might be not BJ. Hazmet might be getting Dove on top lane.
Yeah, especially after the TP, that felt like an opportune time for Levi to show up. But unfortunately, there's Vision and there's members heading up here, as well as the Galio dipping out of laning phase. You're just like, okay, if Galio ults, like this play is doomed. So Levi's going to ditch. Instead, they're just going to continue to ramp up this 40 CS advantage that Kiai's got over top of his counterpart. I guess there's a couple of things that are nice here. First off, Kennen getting into backline might be difficult, especially with Taki around Shogun. It's a Leandries instead of like a Ludens or even an Everfrost that could lock somebody down for a full combo from Kadi. So, grand scheme, the threats on Shogun are reduced at least a bit compared to what they could be in most games. But these advantages that they've got in top and in mid will still translate well into team fights unless Shogun is just absolutely popping off, which we saw in last game. That was sufficient for GAM to be able to fight back. We'll see if it happens again in this game.
Yeah, and at the same time, of course, you have the opportunity with Guri to also always mark Kiaya, right? And Guri should be able to basically stand off with Kiaya and just keep him out of teamfights. The problem is that Guri didn't have the best teamfight positionings. He was caught out a lot, so we really have to look if he can be able to mark him and to make sure that he has the teamfight impact he should have with this Gragas, with the Fed state of his champion as well.
Yeah, the Night Harvester has been his favorite. There have been a handful of games where he's had some early kills and he's been able to put out pretty solid damage. This game looking a little less green, not getting run by Levi nearly as much, probably as a result of a lot more team fights and being around the rest of his teammates quite a bit more as the team, trying to build around Guri. I've been pretty negative on Guri, even though Guri hasn't had a terrible split. In terms of rookie junglers over the years, I would say Guri's split has been perfectly fine. It's that the shoes he was replacing were so massive in BJ that it's like, okay, I have to have high expectations, because again, you're replacing probably a top 3, at minimum a top half jungler every single split since he's been around, with a rookie that came out of nowhere, and it's like, okay, expectations got to be high. I don't think Guri's lived up to those, but that's not to say that he's had a bad split. There are a lot worse rookie junglers that have come through here in the last few years, and honestly, he's had one of the better rookie splits of all of those junglers. So I'll give credit where credit is due for Guri, because I've been particularly harsh knowing that I like BJ quite a bit, but...
Yeah, and it's also because the expectations for Saigon are so high, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like they've been second for what, 3 splits in a row, I think, before this. So I think going in and being like, your job is to be top 2, right? Like,
yes.
That's like, you have to contest with GAM, and every time you were so close, and no, he's being brought in, I would believe, to give them the edge and say, okay, if you're going into the roster, we have a chance at beating GAM, because that's the really only reason to swap jungler or to swap anybody in that team, right? Then I think the expectations have to be massive, and not living up to those can be rough. But we can see that even with a bad start throughout the split or in the next split, you can really improve. I mean, I think Oscarin has been the best example of a rookie coming in with probably one of the most horrible starts you can imagine, and going into playoffs, I felt like he was probably one of the best performing members in Fnatic. So it's not saying that Guri might not or can't really show that on stage yet, but might be able to show that towards summer, and maybe that's why Saigon is keeping him on.
Yeah, the biggest thing is when BJ came in, he had a very distinctive style because it was Hecarim Udyr meta, and he was able to have these really, really influential early game plays. And I don't think again, Guri's style is a little bit different because he's not super into ganking and having massive map impact. He's normally into doing damage. Even on the Gragas, he just doesn't have the same kind of map impact that other junglers might. But he does damage really well when he has it available. The Talia has been great. Again, I've been waiting for a Graves game because I think his Graves was probably my favorite champion I've ever seen him play. He literally he Flame Horizon. I think it was Penguin. He Flame Horizon Penguin on a Hecarim as Graves, and he was just 1v5ing a game, which is what made me excited for this guy. So when the time comes, I'm hoping we get some more opportunity. Dragon's going to be up here in another second, and both teams are more or less kind of posturing in that direction. Maybe we'll get our first semblance of a team fight here soon.
Absolutely, and now we can see Cardi getting buff power, but Froggy is not really caring about that. He is fine giving up some CS, making sure that his team has him as support. He's moving up away a bit, but he always has that ultimate to make sure to lock down the enemies and of course help his team with the shield as well. Mid prior so far for Shogun, but position over to GAM.
All right. Now, second dragon a game. This is also a 17-minute second dragon, which means we're going to be here forever. I know you joked about it before our series started that this was going to be like a 30-minute series or something like that. We're probably not even going to get a 30-minute game here, unfortunately, Tim, because we might be here for some time. The game has been slowed to an absolute snail's pace, which has given us time to talk about a bunch of narrative stuff. But putting us to sleep at least a little bit. That's a jump in from Froggy trying to find something. Dragon's going to go down. Style's going to get caught on the back line. That's going to be a Vi ultimate trying to get onto Shogun. He's way in the back right now. He gets ulted up by that as well. The Galio ultimate tries to save him, but Froggy's not going to be able to be there in time as 2 members going down, 3 members gone down, and the team fight goes the way of GAM as somehow Levi is able to find an amazing ultimate to deliver onto Shogun without any response from the rest of Saigon Buffalo. They're going to snowball that into a big tower in the mid lane.
Huge play also from Style, being on the flank there, being able to instantly follow up onto Levi because he was jumping over the wall. Nicely done from him. Look at where he positions himself. He jumps over this wall, is instantly ready to just get onto Shogun as well, together with Kiaya as well, who comes from the top lane TP'd in. And on the other hand, Hazmet is chilling in top lane right now. He is still a bit confused. Thinks his team is fine. It is not. My son, you have to be useful for your team. Or by you here.
Sorry, who did you say that in reference to? I missed that.
Hazmet, who's just Giga Chat, not TPing, not taking turrets, just watching.
He's chilling in the game, trying to farm up, get to a point where he feels strong. But I feel like that point is long gone at this junction. There's not even like a side lane either. Like you went direct to Sunderer, so it's not like you went Blade of the Rune King. He didn't go Wit's End to try to fight up against Kiaya. He went Merc Treads, he went Sunderer. This is like this is not my favorite idea of a way for this game to progress as the Jax, because like I said, he's slow. He's not going to be in team fights anytime soon, probably, because he still feels weak. There's no like edge to this either. Interesting.
Yes.
And now GAM's just getting run all over like they're running all over Saigon Buffalo. Like look at this entire bot side control. Mid towers got pushed in, bot towers got pushed in. They got wards all the way up and down this jungle. There's just no infringing upon GAM's pushing down here.
Yeah, now that they have the control on bot side, they can just swap it up to top side, make sure that Saigon Buffalo has to clear it out on bot side and to even play, and then start just with catching out Hazmet probably. There's a turret, so they can long chase this.
Yes, they absolutely can. And it's a question of whether there's actually a response or not from the rest of the team. As Hazmet's going to jump in, try to get some damage on Kadi. There's a lot of members here, though. Counter-Strike's not going to get you out of dodge. The best you can do is try to give the kill over to somebody who doesn't matter that much. And that's not the case, because Style is going to be picking it up. Rift Herald's going to get dropped on the bottom side of the map, but they are so far out from that tower. I don't think that's going to end up meaning anything. Yeah.
Well, you said that this might be more than 30 minutes. I think this could be less.
Yeah, I mean, I had also said that before I said that at a 17-minute Drake #2 that they lost a fight at and now have officially gone down 3,000 gold and are about to give up a Baron at 20 minutes into the game. So information comes as information goes, if you know what I'm saying. But they're going to try to fight it at minimum.
Yeah, spotted. On the
Okay,
side,
not terrible. Yeah, Kia's not going to get a solid fight. They're going to get Zin. Okay, that's at least one thing that they're going to be able to grab up. There's no way the Baron goes over to the side of GAM now, so there's too much low health bars. And now Saigon are the ones that say, hey, let's just take the Baron. Why don't we? We got a teleport coming in now from Hosmed. He's going to be able to push on the back. I worry that he's going to get brought down by Kiaya, but he's going to jump right over the pit. Now, Levi, okay, that's a hook from Taki. They're going to get onto Kiaya. Now, Styles going to get stunned up by the counter-strike, and there we go. We've actually found a couple of opportunities. Saigon Buffalo can turn right back for the Baron. Kadi and Levi still available, but Kadi under some legitimate threat from Shogun's damage. Saigon Buffalo is not going to stick around any longer. They're not going to 50-50 this with a potential smite fight from Levi, but they'll take their couple of kills. They'll neutralize a bit of the gold lead.
So you kind of cast a curse Saigon with saying the game goes long. Then I cast a curse GAM because they kind of it quick, and Saigon gets one back. So
this whole time, Rift Herald has Shirley has been absolutely kicking the shit out of bot side. Look at that. There was a full tower that got taken first, and then he just got 75-80, or she just got 75-80% of the second tower as well, which sets up so heavily. Look, the wave is so far up on bottom side, they actually could just deploy into Dragon and try to look for an Infernal Soul point setup here. As Saigon does have a win condition. Their win condition is let's get Infernal Soul, because that will win them the game.
Yeah, but Froggy doesn't have TP in his top side right now, so I think they're not playing the Drake because they're completely in top side right now, clearing out the vision around Baron. So they might be looking to trade Baron for Drake, maybe?
I mean, I wonder... what are your thoughts on that? If you're GAM, which do you take in this case? Like, do you take that trade?
I mean, honestly, as GAM, you just walk at Baron and kick Saigon in the nuts. Honestly, I think that's what they're doing.
Okay, interesting. We're gonna start it off, which feels like a weird play.
Hosmed is not looking so hot.
That's okay. They had interior pressure. Now they're gonna get shoved up in mid lane, and that means that Saigon Buffalo has to full retreat off the Baron and come back, which just means that GAM should go to Dragon right now. Like, they should deny.
I think they can take tier 2 turret here and then take the Drake off.
Just gonna get everything. They just get everything. I mean, why not? It's an all-you-can-eat buffet where GAM doesn't have opposition. I mean, there's not like what is going on here. The Saigon Buffalo was like so intent on baiting the Baron right there that they just gave up on the map completely. As it's going to be the Infernal Dragon getting aggressed on by two members. They're gonna have to start the Baron like now if they want it to go through. But yeah, they're just gonna 50-50 on a fight, I think.
They're doing the same thing again. I think they're not starting it. They're just baiting that they started it. I'm not sure what Guri is.
He's got the deepest flank in the entire universe right here. The punch from hell. Guri's going to be able to find one. That is a takedown onto Ari, which is a huge shutdown for Shogun. That is a big, big win. So I think it was 1,000 gold shutdown that just went over to the side of to Shogun, which was massive. And now they're going to start up the Baron, up a member. They don't have Guri's flash, but I think they're okay with that. They still have a lot of the ultimates still available. They've got like the Galio ultimate, they've got the Moonlight Vigil. There's the engagement. Taki's actually going to flame, going to have everything else come through. Vi is able to get onto Shogun once again. He Gale forces out. He finds a big Moonlight Vigil. As that's two more going down as a result of just Shogun's last-ditch effort. It's again, Saigon Buffalo takes a fight around the Baron. They get a couple of kills, but they don't get the Baron.
This game is something, for sure. I mean, Shogun again trying his best, really being under pressure this time. Obviously, he doesn't have the mobility that Zeri had, and there's a very good lockdown on the other side with Levi as ultimate and Kiaya's ultimate as follow up. Hook from Taki doesn't hit. If that hook lands, then Levi's probably just dead in CC. We can see that Shogun survives for a pretty long time and gets Moonlight Vigil out, gets to burst two people, and he is stacking those kills. He's stacking that gold, and at some point he might be strong enough to carry those teamfights. But we said that in the last game as well. This game, though, he has Infinity Edge, and Infinity Edge goes bonk.
That it does. The only problem with it is that this game, the Shogun's been dove so much more easily than the previous game. When he was on the Zeri, they were having trouble basically getting anyone on it. Even when Kiaya or Levi would actually find an ultimate, there was just no follow-up. In this game, it has been consistent that Levi presses the ultimate and then immediately Kiaya jumps on top of him and the Slicing Maelstrom does a bunch of the health of Shogun. So the Bloodthirster will help with that a little bit with the shield. But I also like that Galio, Froggy was a lot more proactive with the ultimate this time, using it for a bit of the magic shield and denying, or at least knocking up Kadi, knocking up Kiaya as they try to make that follow-through happen onto their AD carry. Very warranted and very necessary ultimate to make sure in future fights that same thing is punished to a much larger degree than it has been. As Shogun finishes up his Infinity Edge, now he has hit the true power spike of being able to full carry this game potentially.
And the problem is also that, of course, you have Style on the other side on the Zeri. Has his Navori soon, and Husband might be aggressed on. Nope, he's fine. Yeah, decides against it, and I mean, we might see Saigon walking at Baron once again. It worked out kind of okay for them. And this time there's no Drake for them to lose, so could be the angle.
Yeah, 2.5 minutes away. This would also be an optimal time to bait, because either a fight goes down and you lose it, then you can go back out on the map and try to get back for Dragon, or if things go poorly, you just back off. You try to poke them if they go in for the Baron. You again stick around until it's time for Dragon. You win a fight. You could win the Baron. There's a lot of options here. Again, the game is rough if you lose it and lose the Baron, but that's going to happen no matter the circumstance. So I don't mind the Baron bait kind of strategy that they've been going for consistently here. And now that Shogun's on Infinity, it just feels like the optimal time to be pushing for something like this. Really try to push GAM to the absolute brink.
The problem is that the weapons are pretty bad right now to start any kind of Nash take, so they're probably just looking for better weapons on Shogun to make sure that he can actually play those fights effectively. And now we see that GAM might be looking towards that Nash, or they're just clearing vision, so nothing really happening.
Yeah, nothing crazy. Instead, it's a 1:37 back timer here for the side of Saigon Buffalo. So they get out, they get some items, they get some wards, they're going to go out. I want to see them set up not Baron side, but Dragon side. I really think this Infernal Soul is a much better and easier win condition. They still might get these fights, but at minimum, if they set up Infernal Soul, it'll be so much damage that they are getting onto Shogun, getting into even like Guri and Froggy and Hazmed, who have been behind in the game, would pick up a lot more damage with the Infernal Soul coming through. It'd be a much better win condition to me than continuing to try to pull a couple of kills here and there around the Baron buff.
I think you can start Baron right now, bait them into the fight, and with that try to take Dragon. So you win the fight around Nash, and then you take the Drake with the one fight. I think that can be the angle here, because there is no Drake to trade now, and Guri is going for the long one again.
Yeah, honestly, the deep flank from Guri worked out so well last time, but this time the fight could collapse in the wrong direction. That's a play on a Kiai. Kiai is just almost dead. I was going to say dead, but the Moonlight Vigil actually missed, and now Shogun's getting aggressed against, and he's just killed by Kadi outright. The rest of his team fully abandoned him. It was just Shogun and Taki sitting in the river. This is why I didn't like this. This is why I didn't want this. They had to play picture-perfect fights every single time in order to get out of this situation unscathed. And now Saigon Buffalo is going to fall behind 4,000 gold. They're going to fall down the Baron. They're going to fall down the Dragon. And the game's over. Like, the game is just over. There's no way that the GAM is going to be able to get themselves, or going to be able to shoot themselves in the foot hard enough to lose this one against this team now.
Get Shogun out of Saigon's person, man. Like, he needs a new topside. The entire topside just leaving the AD carry out to drive for no reason at all. I mean, going into Kiaya, trying to burst him out, fair enough, but Guri just kicking it away, by the way. Like, he saved Kiaya as well. Like, he just ulted him away, so no.
And we'll speak on GAM now as this fight kind of takes place. And look at this, all three of them. Froggy realizes his mistake and he tries to get back, but he gets stopped up by Levi. And look at that, Style and Kadi, they just run directly at them. This actually goes into another point about GAM, which is it's looking right now like they're going to have another undefeated split. They're going to walk into playoffs and they could potentially go 14-0. They could potentially, maybe not even drop games in playoffs or drop very few games in playoffs. And as a result, they're going to be walking into MSI as the absolute guaranteed best, one of the best rosters ever sent to MSI by the VCS, because they missed it last year as a result of going to the Asian games. So this is going to be GAM's first attempt going there since like 2019 or something along those lines. So it's been a long time since they've represented, and it's the best time because for the last few years we've had our criticisms of some of their players. Sometimes Kiaya is snoozing, sometimes Kadi's snoozing. In my opinion, even though Levi is having a split, I actually might vote that Kadi's the MVP. Kadi has had amazing performances, and that right there, picking off Shogun, was emblematic of how the split has gone. Kadi has just been an absolute rock in the mid lane for this team, not being a hindrance, not being the worst player on the team that we've had kind of issues with in the past. Instead, he's performing at the top level.
Yeah, I mean, the only positions I would say that I might be a bit worried for going into MSI might be that bot lane position, because we've seen how exploitable they are against somebody like Shogun and Taki, obviously are very strong, but they have also shown last MSI and Worlds as well that they can step up to any international competition and beat them. So I think it's it's a bot lane that if they are on the top of the game, you have to be able to beat to do something internationally, and they're not really able to.
Just gone is Guri. The hook from Taki brings a couple in, but the Moonlight Vigil ends up getting a bunch of Chakram out, but it's not going to matter at all. You can see the damage is piling up on Xin, but it doesn't matter. GAM doesn't care. They're walking at the base. They're bringing down bot inhib. They're bringing down mid inhib. And there's no fight to be had. Shogun's down Moonlight Vigil. He has Infernum, which is nice. That's a great gun to try to hold in this situation. Great gun to potentially set up a team fight that could save the base. But I just don't think. Like, look at this. They've given top Nexus Tower. Like,
Yeah, I mean, Froggy's looking angrily at enemy team, and Shogun is asking himself why the hell Froggy picked this champion, probably. But yeah, it's probably gonna be the game
final
here.
attempt.
Froggy's trying.
Vi ultimate, Galio ultimate's gonna stop up a couple of members, but they killed like Shogun just way too fast. As just like that, there's one kill going back. Kadi's pretty low health, but they just don't have the damage dealers to finish this out. And just like that, GAM Esports. They went 13-0. We were worried about this game. We thought, hey, Saigon Buffalo might have some fight back, but that's not the case. GAM instead, they are going to take another undefeated 14-0 split.